I have seen quite a bit from Barbie, which is part of the reason why I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, internet. Hi.
Especially when you get into people who are like offended by the movie, it's like maybe you're the problem.
If you're offended by Barbie, maybe you should think about that for a minute. Maybe you should chew on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you're generally speaking, if you're offended by a movie, it's not for you.
Right. Or it's good. Like maybe you got something to chew on for a bit.
What? Self-fucking analyzation and criticism? Who the fuck does that?
Not in my America.
No. Bunch of goddamn pansies.
Don't, Boston, because, like... so, my mental state has not been great recently.
Uh-huh.
And as such, I am re-listening to the entire run of the AE podcast, the Attitude Era podcast, where they went back and looked at all of the Attitude Era to see, quote-unquote, if it held up. Some of it did, some of it didn't. Not going to go into that. However, part of Season 2 they did, which was The Rock's Return, WrestleMania 28, 29.
Thank you, Farrer.
And part of that run was when they fucking had Jack Swagger in his 100% racist gimmick with Zeb Coulter.
Oh, no.
When their catchphrase, they came out, they started insulting the quote-unquote illegals.
Oh, boy.
And the languages they spoke, and how they were not part of the real America.
Oh, boy.
And their tagline was, "We the people." And they would put their hand over their heart when they said it, and the fans chanted along, because that's a fucking mistake.
Oh, boy.
Oh, so you're saying that not only did it held up, those are still being practiced today.
Uh-huh. I was like 2006.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a bad idea at that point. Like,
yeah.
Fuck Christ.
Yikes. To be clear, none of us put our weight behind any of that. Just in case you're like a brand new listener and you're like, what is this show about?
Yeah,
not
that
shit.
Shit.
Yeah.
My belief is I treat everyone with respect until you prove to me otherwise that you don't deserve it.
That's right.
I treat everybody the same. I ignore every single fucking one of them.
That's right. Don't perceive me. I won't perceive you. We're all good.
I don't like people as a whole. I don't like people. If people seem to understand, like, yes, I am a massive intranet. Yes, I am the intranet.
I contain multitudes.
This PC to that PC. But I literally am so introverted that if I'm around more than two people at once, it literally exhausts me. Like, any form of social gathering with more than two people, and I'm fucking done.
That drains my batteries really fast.
I want to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, it's like literally two people above two, and I'm fucking done. Like, at the end of that day, I'm just like, no, I need to sit in silence. I need nobody around me. Louise can come and cuddle and then overheat me, and that's fine, but fucking
play some Vampire Survivors, zone out for a minute. Yep.
Like, I am very introverted, and that's a lot of different things, but it's like, I'll be nice to people and polite and courteous and respectful. Don't fucking interact with me. Just don't.
Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. I don't exist.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we don't have a TVGP meetup.
That's right.
Yes.
Because none of us want to interact with people.
All of us would need to fucking move. That's right. Not move. Go somewhere.
Right.
Come on. All three of us, even if you pull a Boston here and you throw a dart at the middle of the fucking map to see where it's happening, it would happen in the middle of the fucking country where none of the people who listen to live.
Right.
And nobody wants to fucking fly to because it's in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
And all the shit that we espouse on a regular basis, we're going to end up in one of those small towns and get chased out of it like fucking Top Gear.
You get chased out of. I look like one of those people.
Also true.
You do. Credit where it is due.
Yeah.
That's right.
Problem is, second I start talking, I'm out the fucking door. Because, like, get out of my country.
New York City. Man. All right.
The only place we could get away with it would be either Boston's side or my side.
It's true. So the coastal elite. That's us.
Hell yeah.
What's wrong with America?
Elite.
That's right.
B elite.
That's right.
B elite. Be the elite. I fucking missed the main event of the goddamn pay-per-view for you fuckers.
You love us. We know it.
You could have taken time off.
Yeah.
Yes, and missed the 2 other recordings we did before this one.
I mean,
that's all good. All right, are you guys ready to go live?
That's fine.
Or start the episode? Do the thing? Do the talking about the games?
But sure.
Yeah.
nah, we're all pooped out.
Yep. That was a good
we
run.
got our energy out. Yeah.
Yep, 35 minutes. We're good. All right, bye.
Let me just drink my disgusting ass fucking Baja Blast bullshit.
What did we learn? We love everybody equally, and we hate everybody equally.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Everything in perfect balance.
Yes.
That's right.
The way it should be. Just like Thanos
got
said.
it.
I was saying, with a snap of my fingers.
That's right. Snap of my fingers, I delete the internet. Here we go. All right.
No, you wouldn't. You like doing this show too much to
I really do. How about we'll just get rid of social media? How's that sound? Go back to blogs. Love it. Live journal. Here we come.
Fucking dude, don't.
Okay, Cupid.
A shit show.
Back to there.
I was an angsty teenager when LiveJournal was big, so
Ditto.
it looked like everybody else's LiveJournals.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Lego Batman. I'm dark.
That's right.
That's a callback.
That's right. Call forward? Something?
Call forwards?
Yeah.
Fuck you. We both made the same fucking joke. Fuck you.
Ba-da-bop. End stream. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always, Moonpeer.
Hi. I will try very hard not to swear because it's been on the edge of my lips all day today.
That's right. And the Nimp.
Just sit back and relax, because this is going to be a punchy episode.
That's right. Here on NPR. Don't sue us, please. We have no money.
Just cup your ears with your hands and feel the tingles going down your spine.
That's right.
Has anyone ever done like jump scare ASMR? Like, would that be a horrible thing to do to people?
They have to. Like Pharaoh in chat says, we're off to a great start, LOL.
Yeah.
Yep, that's been the whole day. It's not getting better from here. Go sign up for Patreon over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers, you know it by now. If you're a new listener, those ones are numbers.
That's right. We got an action-packed episode this week, so let's sort of motor through this one. We have exclusive audio over there every week, like The Outcast, which is the uncensored kind of behind-the-scenes look at everything that isn't video games that's going on in our lives. We do have a mini Critical Misses production meeting inside of The Outcast this week, like a Patreonception, so you can get a little sneak peek of the Critical Misses production meeting there. Production meeting is at the $5 tier or higher. If you want to go listen to those. And you get early access to We Roguelike It and Critical Misses, and you get exclusive access to Moon using emojis in Skype on the stream. And also, last but not least, the Wayward Sons, which is the Supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and Nimp are going through. All of that is over patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones are numbers.
Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Uh-oh.
Yes?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. That is my answer, yes. What have I been playing? I have been playing yes.
Perfect, I'll write that down.
I played the lawnmower game. Not the actual video game about lawn mowing. I actually pushed a lawnmower around a garden a few times.
Right.
So you were playing IRL lawnmower.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
My hot new game, IRL Lawnmower.
I did way too much IRL stuff, to be honest, and not enough in IVG stuff. Like, I would much more prefer to be doing IVG than IRL, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Did I talk about beating Peppa Pig last week and getting the full game
experience? And going to Potato Land.
The secret ending? Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yes, the Potato Land. Okay, yes, so I did talk about that. This week, I beat the League of Super Pets. I don't know what it's called. It's got like 19 names in its title.
Oh, yeah. What is, what's the game called?
And it's the one based it's based on the movie.
I was gonna
which
say,
has got
'cause
The
I know
Rock
the movie-
and Kevin
'cause-
Smith.
Yeah, because I watched the trailer for that when we went to the movies. I think they called them the Mighty Pups or something.
Yeah, this is
It's
the
like the League of Super
yeah
Pets or something
DC
like that.
League of Super Pets. You might be thinking of the Paw Patrol Mighty Pups. That's when the Paw
Ooh,
Patrol
maybe.
the pups get the powers
There-
from that meteor, and they
There was a
turn
lot
superpowered.
of dog cartoon trailers.
To be fair, yes.
Apparently, there's an MMO coming out for the Paw Patrol games. By the
Why
way,
wouldn't there be?
That seems.
My friendly friends have decided to tell me about that because apparently that is my branding. It's Dune, it's wrestling, and it's children's video games. Seems to be my go-to branding these days.
Perfect.
Sure, I guess. But no, I beat the game. It is acceptable from a children's perspective,
Hmm.
but this grown-ass man is very grown-ass disappointed because you cannot remap the controls. And I'm sorry, but if your shoot button is X, your dodge button shouldn't be B.
That is
Because you have
correct.
to let go of the shoot button to do the dodge.
Yeah, those are on
Let me just
opposite sides.
Throw this out there though. How many adult games have you played that they won't let you remap the controller?
A lot.
lot,
But a lot
yeah.
less recently.
Yeah.
I can do that on a system level for most things now, but I'm not going to change my system level for a stupid kids video game. But the triggers are not used at
Oh.
all.
Weird.
Maybe they found kids
It's a
had issues
shooting
with the
game.
triggers.
Surely,
My
should
kid
be on the right trigger.
My kid does have trouble using the triggers on all controllers because her hands aren't big enough, so that's not too surprising.
How tall is your child, Boston?
Hey man, I don't know.
Small is the thing I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Then let me remap the controllers.
Yeah.
I get it, 100%. But let me remap it because it shouldn't be so atrociously difficult to. Because I ended up doing the Monster Hunter Claw from playing it
Yeah.
on the PSP, where you've got one finger on all four of the buttons, so you
Right.
could shoot and then dodge and then use the special.
Right.
All with. So I'm like sitting there like a weirdo doing this
I mean, it
when I'm
sounds like
trying
you
to play a
figured it out.
video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my arthritic old hands doing this crap.
I mean, you do what you got to do.
Moral of the story: let me remap the controller, please,
That's right.
because that was very annoying. I stopped playing Monster Hunter on the PSP for a reason.
Yeah.
It was that reason.
Yeah, I still
Ugh.
think it's weird that we are at a day and age where we still on console cannot fully remap a controller. There's doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason behind it besides, from what I've been hearing, people just don't want to do it because it's a pain to code it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully more engines do that on kind of an engine level. That would be the kind of enhancements I'd like to see on that level, where it's like, yeah, we have controller remapping kind of baked into the base level of the engine. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will. Okay. Before anybody asks me, yes, the smart thing would have been to grab my Elite controller and then just change the paddles to all those buttons. But I didn't think about that until this very moment, and I'm already done with the game, so I don't care anymore. I'm still mad.
I don't care
And
that you have a
wouldn't that be-
solution. I didn't think of it. It's done.
Right.
Yes. Wouldn't that be the best thing to use a $200 controller to play a free child's game with my Xbox Game Pass?
I
Yeah,
mean-
that's perfect.
You
Right.
could buy their I always forget what they call it, but they're accessibility controllers that PlayStation and Xbox makes.
I'm
Yeah.
good. I don't need to spend another $300 on controllers, thanks.
They're not that much.
But
Already
it's
have too many
cool.
of them.
The Xbox One, honestly, when I looked
Oh.
at that looked really cool, being able to set that up the way you could.
Yeah.
I miss being able to plug in the DDR mat and then control platformers on the PlayStation with the DDR mat, because that was just the stupidest thing ever.
Yep.
Well, whatever, it's fine. It's a perfectly fine game. It is not groundbreaking or anything like that. Speaking of groundbreaking, though, the only other game I played was Grounded. Imp, you go first, because
Love it.
We didn't play this week.
you suck.
Angel Eye was out. Pharaoh was able to play. I was not, because I forgot it was Tuesday and we were doing our things with our kids before they went to school, so I didn't get home until super late.
You suck so much.
There's only so much I can do.
Yeah, I agree. That's why the only other game I played is Grounded. Correction. I did play Marvel Snap. I'm not even going to talk about that. But Grounded. This might be one of my favorite games ever. Like, period. Like,
All right.
I realize that it 100% is a me game, which is to say it's a big survival open world game with progression that you do by, killing things and getting new materials. And I'm building a base, and I have a zip line structure going all the way around the place now, except for 4 or 5 places where I need to lug a bunch of mushroom bricks over to a different place so I can create a stairway to heaven, and then use the stairway to heaven to create a new zipline anchor point, and then that would be great. It's that obsidian curse / blessing that they do, which is just the game is just, it's not exactly perfect control wise. Graphics wise, it's got a unique style to it. And I've mentioned this before, but I cannot pimp out the lighting effects in this game enough.
It's technically incredibly impressive. They do some stuff on that console that's really impressive.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do the ray tracing of the light.
Right.
Sun up and sundown is incredible and terrifying in that game for specific reasons, but the ray tracing side of it is just so beautiful on so many different levels, and when
even the reflection in dew looks really good.
That's an Unreal Engine 4 game. That's not even UE5. That's impressive.
I don't know what black magic they have used to have that thing working on the Xbox this way. It's just fantastic. Also, fun fact, they're about to go into a secret section of the game in this video that you are showing on the stream.
Let me pause that and scooch back a little.
But no, it's just everything about it is just so charming and unique in every aspect of it. I'm just enjoying everything that I'm doing with it. So much so that I am literally walking around now just gathering clay. So I have... Okay, when you start building your base, which Nimp is aware of, you have the grass blades, and that's pretty much it. Grass and wheat, they're the 2 things you use to build your base. So it's either green or 420, which is technically green, so whatever. And those are the 2 main building materials that you have.
Okay.
When you get much further in the game, you get clay. And then if you use clay with stone pebblets, it becomes a decent building material. I tend to stick with just clay for my out and about adventures, because if you take clay and mushroom blocks, you have an inventory carryable building material with you. Whereas if you wanted anything with the grass or the stem or the weed stems, you have to carry them on your shoulder. If you take a hit, you drop them. I spent about 2 hours around the stump area trying to figure out a good place to put an anchor point, and then wasps kept killing me, and then other things kept killing me, and I was like, okay, no more of this stuff. I'm just doing clay and mushroom from now on, because that's just the easiest way to do things. I did manage to make a waft emitter.
Okay.
Pheromones or something?
It's it's the husk of a dead insect that when you put stuff in, it triggers an attack on your base.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I'm very curious to see if I can use that to get some of the more long distance insects, we'll say.
Okay.
So if I can trigger an attack from them, so I don't have to go running into the wilds of the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And I can just have them come to me instead.
All right. Interesting.
I don't know if I mentioned last week, I did run into my first Black Widow.
I don't remember that, no.
Yeah, Black Widows are not fun.
in IRL and IVG also?
Yeah. It's just they're the same size as wolf spiders, like visually speaking, but they have a lot more spindly legs. So they have the
Gross.
spider legs,
Gross.
and they don't use the same poison as wolf spiders. They use venom, which I don't have an immunity to.
Yeah.
So they will mess me up real quick.
Man.
And guess what? I got messed up a whole bunch by a bunch of Black Widows.
There you go.
It's not great.
No.
I progressed a bunch of the story. Don't really want to talk about that because obviously other people are playing this right now. So
Right.
I will save those reveals for later. There were some genuinely funny ones in there. As a mad scientist might do, creating things and shrinking children in
Right.
his garden, which is some quality work. I don't know, just every time I feel like I've hit the end of the progression, where it's like, okay, cool, I got my tier 3 materials, it looks like I'm all set and everything is good to go where I'm at. And then it's like, oh, no. Look, this is a whole new material that you've got that you can do more armor with and more weapons and so on and so forth. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that's that. And then I'll go and do some more of that. And then in doing that, I find a new material, which lets me make even more stuff. I now have a refrigerator, which means that I can put...
Make your tiki
it's
bar.
so important. Like, it's ridiculous how important it is because you make food. If you don't eat it, the food goes bad. And when the food goes bad,
okay.
you can't eat it without making yourself go sick.
Right.
So now I can just do a bunch of cooking and throw it in the fridge and then not worry about it. I've got food stored in there to do it.
Nice.
My favorite part is the refrigerator. It's called a fresh storage. It's got a little piece of mint sticking from the top of it because the mint is what keeps things fresh.
I like it. It's really good.
It's the design of everything in this game. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, the first shield you get is a Weevil shield. And in order to make the Weevil shield, you need a Weevil head, I think it is, and then 2 pieces of rope and sap. And then when you look at the design of the Weevil shield, it is made of the Weevil's head, 2 pieces of rope, and then sap to glue all of the rope into place.
Okay. That's nice.
So the ingredients for the design very clearly make up the design of the items itself,
Right.
and that's armor, material, walls, all of it. It's all very clearly exactly what you use to make it.
It's got a very DIY look to it.
Yeah.
100%, and it's little touches like that make all the difference, because it's not like, get 5 like ant parts or whatever and then it doesn't make sense the way it looks compared to what you put into it. It's all super well thought out and rationalized. I got a glue smasher and it needed bombardier parts, I think it was, and it's just like a churn that you used to make butter with, like in the olden times, like where you used to just do the smoosh smoosh smoosh. And the smooshy handle part is the leg of the bombardier beetle.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's exactly what it's used for.
Man, Obsidian.
I don't know. I
love it.
It's so charming on so many different levels. I like the fact that they did the whole Ant-Man trick of, hey, look, this is a AAA battery or a 9-volt battery powering this entire lab, but the 9-volt battery is real size and everything else is tiny size. It's like, good. You nailed that part of it too.
It's also nice to find a game that's just a game for you. Like, yes, this is a type of game I love
100%.
that's made really well. It sounds like it's paced super well, and it's just good, and it's made for you.
But that's the thing, like the pacing of it is the thing that surprised me the most, because like when it was in early access, I jumped in, I played it for like a day or two, and I was like, cool, I'm waiting until it comes out at this point.
This is the thing I know I'm going to like. I'll hang on to it.
Yeah, and from what I hear at that point, it was like, yeah, it sucks, like the story's not 100% there yet, or it's difficult to know where you're going to go. And then by this point, it's like the story has taken me from the starting area all the way to the upper garden, and now I'm doing a different thing where I need to collect a bunch of rare materials in order to put them in a thing to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the rare materials are things you only get at like tier 3. Like toenail clippings.
All right. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, cool.
Use whatever tools you can get, I
Thanks.
guess.
Yes, there is a saber that is made up of toenail clippings too, by the way.
That's pretty good.
Sure, why not? But it's a really fun game. The Undershed is potentially one of the scariest places I've ever been to in video games.
Oh, boy.
Literally under a shed. That is it.
Man.
That is the only description I'm going to give you, and it is about as nightmarish as you can possibly think it would be.
That's right.
Nice. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to give you an idea of how much this game has affected me in IRL, when I was doing the lawn mowing thing, I literally thought to myself, I hope there aren't any small children in this garden as I'm mowing the lawn.
Dude.
That's right.
Last weekend we mowed our grass, and I had that same, not hopefully there's, but just thinking about Grounded and then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I haven't thought of those in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, little buddies.
Because they have a lawnmower scene in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I believe.
The first one.
It is terrifying. It's
Yes.
like, I really hope there's no small, like, people walking around here. Because I can see the bugs, because the bugs run away from the lawnmower. I can see the little cicada going, woo, 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 as I move towards it. I hate cicadas. They're so noisy.
I love their noise. I don't like how they look.
Yes, in small measures, but they don't show up for such a long time here.
No,
like,
it's great.
Stupid. Yeah, Grounded is fantastic. I love Grounded. You should all go play Grounded. It is on Game Pass, and it is unreal how good that game looks.
I think it's both on
intended.
Xbox and PC Game Pass, if I remember correctly.
Don't know, but I can check.
Yeah.
I'll find out. Nimp, talk away.
All right.
Talk to me.
So I had been playing a bunch of Atelier 3, mostly just exploring, because there's a lot of key locations that you can find, which helps increase where you can fast travel to.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find these key locations, it unfogs your map. You find it? Is it a PC Game Pass?
It's on PC Game Pass and regular Game Pass too.
Okay.
Nice.
So, if you want to push your PC to its limit, have fun.
Yeah,
So set
exactly.
that thing on fire.
Right.
So yeah, every time you discover one of these key locations, it'll uncover the clouds that are covering the map, so you can see where you're actually going.
Mm-hmm.
While you're in that area, your little mini map will show you that location without the clouds. It's just when you're trying to get an up top bird's eye view of, I'm trying to head in this direction, where do I go?
Oh,
So there's
sure.
a lot of path crossing and elevation issues. So that's really hard to navigate sometimes when you can't see the whole area and where you're supposed to be going. So I've cleared out a bunch of that. This opened up a whole other island that I ended up going to for a while, cleared out most of that, and then came back to the main island for story reasons. And now it sounds like I'm going to a third island. So
Oh, wow.
this game already encompassed like the first island that you were on from the first game, and it's added a whole other island, and it's expanded on the island from the first game, and now there's a third area that it sounds like I'm getting ready to head to go check out. So
Oh,
it's
jeez.
it's pretty expansive. But outside of that, I've just been doing a lot of random crafting so I can get my SP points, so then I can spend them in my little skill chart thing so I can start crafting new things with alchemy, or increase my gathering skills and all that. So it's been fun. It's been fun.
You're in the loop.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I can shut my brain off and just kind of clear areas. I've fought a couple of bosses now, and those were not terrible.
Okay.
They weren't. I was finding that the strategies that I was using was great for the encounters with the smaller enemies, but when you are doing a longer encounter with a boss,
Mm-hmm.
little bit of tweaking here and there and a lot more healing than I was used to having to
Right.
do. Because that's when I also realized I don't have a way to revive my party members right now in the middle of
Oh.
a fight.
Fun.
So yeah, that was great. But yeah, I'm assuming I think it's the elixir that has been what you can use to revive in the past. So I have the recipe, I just don't have the things to make it yet.
Right.
So yeah, just messing with getting my equipment built up. That's all. Just wandering around having fun.
Yeah.
My last game that I have is Armor Core 6.
Yes.
And man, this is a beautiful looking game. I'm playing on the PS5 right now.
It really is.
Yeah.
So,
debating.
right now,
it's taking all my effort to not buy this game.
it took
ditto.
a lot of effort, and I still bought it because it is $59 for last gen and current gen.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Huh?
If
Good
you
on you,
buy the
Namco.
if you buy the PS4 version, you have an automatic free update to the digital PS5 version.
Okay.
So I bought the PS4 physical edition so my son can play it when I'm done, but I have the PS5 digital version on my PS5 right now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Where to start with this game? Okay, so I am not at the point where I've torn my mech apart to mess with it.
Okay.
I have the ability to do that. I just don't have that many parts yet. So, you can start the painting of your mech right off the bat if you want to.
Yes. There we go.
I have not.
That's a deep rabbit hole.
Yes, only because you can get down to the very minute, minuscule things with adding decals and painting it.
Okay.
That I saw what I could do and then had to quickly move on so I'd actually play the game.
Right.
So this week I'm planning on doing a paint scale. And that was the other thing too. I didn't immediately have an idea of what I wanted my paint scale to be. Also, this is going to get super nerdy for mechs. So if you don't care about mechs, just go ahead and skip to the next thing.
Hit the next chapter.
Yeah. I can already see Moon starting to...
I think that's self-preservation for him.
I know, he's trying to shut down so he doesn't buy it.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like, this is a game that, like Boston said last week, like, this is a game that I 100% would be interested in. I mean, you know me and space and tech and everything else and future stuff. Like, it's right in my wheelhouse.
And needing a spreadsheet to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the thing I can't do right now. I barely have the brain space for Grounded. And I'm trying to do Marvel Snap at the same time. It's like, I don't know if I have it in me to do this. Like, learn all of these new terminologies. I mean, I'm assuming they're not called Wanzers, so that's not something I have to think about.
Right.
But I did name my mech, my AC, a Wanzer.
There you go.
Because it has to be.
Dude.
And it also, the very first decal that you have is a wizard's hat. So my front mission peeps, boom, right there on my AC.
Do you get a robe to go with that wizard hat?
That's
Can you take it off?
But
really early internet humor right there.
So yes, but
So
I have
good.
seen pictures of what people have done who are way further on this, and what's worse is that a lot of it's on PC, so they all have mods that they've been adding and using.
Yeah.
I have not been able to do this yet, but when you create your armored core, you get a code. And you can pass that code out to anyone, and anyone can input that code, and then you will get that same loadout if you have the parts.
Oh, nice.
The only stipulation with that is that it's tied to that specific console. So all the cool stuff that the PC people are doing, you cannot on console use that code.
Oh, interesting.
But it sounds like and I'm not sure if it's like, if I make something and give Moon my code, I don't know if he's fine because he's on a console, even though it would be Xbox.
Right, or if it's only like
Xbox and
PlayStation Family. And
I
Xbox
haven't looked
Family,
into that.
Right.
However, paint jobs, though, if you have a really good paint job that people want, apparently that code is usable no matter what platform you're on.
Okay, so that price sticker I saw on Twitter yesterday of the 250 yen price sticker, can I get that as a picture code? Great.
Yes.
I love it.
People are already making weird, funky URL, QR codes, and all this other dumb stuff. So, You can do a lot. This is on the level and maybe far and above what you could do with like Forza for the decals and stuff, where
Okay.
you just have like a full-on editor and you're just doing whatever.
Nice.
I want to make my armored core look like a Formula One car, like have it sponsored by what was it? What was the energy drink, Boston? Boston, what was the energy drink?
Gosh, I think my lawyers have advised me not to talk about that anymore. It's a, a litigious
Redacted Energy.
Yeah,
Redacted Energy is sponsoring my armored core.
That's right.
That would make for a good energy drink too, just by that. But
That's
I mean,
right.
yeah, you could. Like, you can go full on F1 NASCAR with every single decal you want. Now, so far, you can only put a single decal on each piece. So the head, core unit, arm, left, right arm, left, right leg.
That's fair. That seems fair.
I have not messed with the decals too much, but again, from what it looks like you can place it anywhere on that specific unit or area.
Okay.
So if you want it front shoulder, side shoulder, more towards the forearm, you can move it around. You can extend the sizes of the decals and all that stuff and layer them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the stuff I did not look into very heavily because that would be the only thing that I would be talking about right now. So I moved on to the gameplay. Oh my god, this game feels great.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are comparing this to Zone of Enders because of how fast-paced it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get behind that. There's been a lot of times where I've done something and I'm like, that feels like it's straight out of a Gundam anime.
That's right. I did something real cool.
Yeah. You don't... How do I forget? You don't... Weight isn't a factor for you, controlling-wise. You don't have momentum that you're worrying about. You do, however, have kind of the... like tech feel, where it's like just because you're looking and moving in a direction doesn't mean that your armaments are facing that direction.
Oh, sure.
So they have this thing, one of the options is that they have an auto-targeting system, where you have your reticles up all the time in front of you anyway, but if there is an enemy in front of you, the game will automatically lock onto that, so that way you are not trying to mess around with doing all of this while you're, doing 360 kick flips in the air with your mech and all this stuff.
Right.
Which has been very helpful because there are a lot of times where it's like I'm dodging and weaving between, rockets and bullets, and there is no way I would have been able to get a clean shot off of something with the bullet hell that I'm trying to avoid right now. So that has been very helpful. But even if your mech isn't lined up with what you're shooting at, when you hit the trigger button, it will just kind of auto-align, and you will still continue to move in whatever direction you're doing. It's just your mech, your AC will just switch to whatever direction you were facing and trying to shoot at. That way it can get the bead and pull the trigger.
Right.
It sounds weird, and it kind of looks weird, but it doesn't affect gameplay at all. It just takes a moment to get your mind around.
Mm.
The other thing that takes a moment to get your mind around are the controls a little bit. Your shoulder buttons and your trigger buttons are your weapons. Your top shoulder buttons, your L1, R1, are for anything that you have mounted on the shoulders of your AC.
Okay.
The trigger buttons are whatever you have in their hands.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
It does, and it works. It just, for some reason, takes a moment to remap.
It's a little different than a lot of other stuff.
Especially since your default in your left hand, you have an energy beam that comes out of your forearm.
Mm-hmm.
I am still hitting square to do a melee attack.
Oh,
That's not how
sure.
you do a melee attack. It is L2 on the PlayStation.
Right.
So that throws me up because L2 is a quick dodge, which is fine. But a little bit of throwing me off here. But also with that, the circle button is kind of like this weird hover mode, which is fine. It doesn't drain energy and it lets you move faster because just walking takes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you hit circle, it lets you do like this hover, like just above the ground hover kind of thing, lets you be more agile. X is jump. Triangle, I don't remember off the top of my head. That does something. I don't remember what. You have healing, repair kits. You get 3 repair kits per mission.
Okay.
That's all you get. There's no way so far to replenish them.
Okay.
However, if you die to like a boss or just whatever, and you have to restart from a checkpoint, your repair kits and your health get fully filled. So
okay, that sounds so
if you
bad.
if you ran out,
non-From Software of them.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I think it's because they're trying to, because I'm pretty sure the first couple did that as well.
It's been so long since I played any of them.
I was gonna say,
remember.
I may just be pulling that out of my butt because it has been forever. But either way, this is not a Souls-like,
right?
Even though
this is an Armored Core game.
Yeah, it's a full-on Armored Core game.
I'm going to tell you the first boss was very difficult. I will get to that in a moment, but it took multiple tries to fight that boss. So the healing, your health and all that stuff, your ammo gets replenished if you die and you have to restart at a checkpoint or whatever. It's not restarting you with what you had at that checkpoint. It's just everything's replenished.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. The missions themselves so far, I'm still in chapter 1. I think I've only done about 8 or 10 missions, with the exception of a couple of them, which by reading the description you can kind of tell they're going to take a bit. The missions are usually like 5 to 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
So far, in chapter 1. So it's a very good, okay, I want to play, but I don't want to get deep in it. Let me just knock out this mission real quick. And
I mean, especially if you have to like reconfigure your core. At least it's not like, all right, here's another 45-minute mission to get back to the boss.
Yeah, and it just makes it that much easier because everything is your missions are from like a select screen. So you can just choose your mission, you go in, it gives you the area that you're going to be in, it tells you what you need to do, you do it, you get back out, you're back in the menu, and you can do whatever you want from there.
That's great.
With you bringing up about reconfiguring, they do have a I forget what they call it. I think they just called it an AC test, where basically you pick whatever AC you've made, you go into the test room, and you just do whatever. It'll give you mock enemies to check out your weapons with.
So it's like a firing range almost?
Yeah, it's so that you don't just go into a mission and realize, oh, I don't have enough power for the tank treads that I just installed. I can't move. Yeah, right. Exactly. You can unequip all of your items.
Right.
And figure it out from there. I did not try, but I don't know if you can punch things in this game or not. So
yeah.
Good luck. God, where was I going to go with that too? With the testing? Oh, with the equipment that I have right now, there's not a whole lot that I can do. I can completely replace everything that I have equipped now from the part shop. It's just nothing. There's so many stats that are in the negative for me right now compared to what I have. If I switched them over, there's just nothing worth doing right now.
Right.
But like I said, you have several slots to make different AC units. So if you really just want to make like a light unit, but you don't want to lose your current unit, save your current unit, and then just go tell it that you want to make a new one.
Right. So you can have like loadout slots almost.
Yeah, I think there's like 40 of them that you can have.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I'm used to games being like, you have 4.
No, they know who their audience is. It's all of us who are like, I want to try it with this version of the model.
What if I put these legs on it?
But that's the same thing with the paint scale too. Painting, anything that you do with painting, you can save that, and then later on, you can just apply that paint scheme to whatever AC you make.
That's great.
So there's a lot of being able to move customization from one unit to another.
Right.
Moving on from all the customization and back to the controls just feel fine. They're nothing bad. Everything feels a little floaty, but I mean, you're a giant mech in a very big area, so whatever, it's fine. The first level has a boss at the end of it, and that boss is super difficult.
That's what I've heard.
Yes. It took me probably 6 or 7 attempts on it, and what I found for me that was really annoying is that when I try to use my blade, like whenever I try to get close to it, because it's basically this flying fortress thing that's attacking you, trying to get close to it, it will keep flying out of bounds. So I can't, like, I can still shoot it and hit it with my missiles, but like I can't hit it with like my beam saber. So if I fly to it, I'll hit the out of bounds thing every once in a while. So then I have to back up, which is not something you want to do with this because this boss is like mostly ranged. And the ranged attacks from enemies does this weird thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around where they shoot off and it looks like everything's gonna miss, and then all of a sudden everything curves in on you.
Okay.
So it's been really hard to gauge, oh, was that just a wide shot? Did I actually avoid it? Or, oh no, these are homing missiles. I need to keep
Are they
dodging
like
for a little
Macross
bit.
missiles where 30 of them come in and swing at you?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is, with that boss specifically, I think it shoots off like 8 missiles, and you see them go out and wide.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they just whoop, come right back.
Oh, I'm safe. Like, oh no.
Oh no. Meanwhile, this thing is shooting off.
It's your fault for not watching Dragon Ball Z and Piccolo's weird special attack where he does all of the beams outwards.
But even like the bullets, though, it looks like a straight bullet hell thing where it's like you see that wall of bullets and you're like, oh, okay, I'll just dodge to the left. And then all of a sudden the bullets are just kind of following you. And you're like,
that's right. Oh no.
What the heck? So there is a learning curve, and that boss can and is difficult.
Right.
Don't give up, though. Like, you'll get it. You just have to. It's one of those games where it's not going to hold your hand.
Right. It's still a From Software game at the end of the day, where it's like we gave you the tools, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just the bosses. The normal enemies aren't difficult. Mm-hmm. If you take anything lightly, it can mess you up, but it's not going to kill you outright. You have that degree of, I'm figuring this out. Oh, I just took a bunch of missiles to the face. Okay, I'm still fine. You know?
Right.
The only thing that sucks is there is a stagger system in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they call it specifically. But it all enemies and your AC, there's a little yellow bar above your boost meter. And when that fills up, you basically lose your poise or you get staggered or whatever. Basically, your processing unit in your mech is trying to take in so much information that your mech just locks up. So you have to wait for it to catch up, and then you can move again, kind of thing.
Okay.
Great against bosses. It sucks when you take a face full of bullets and you're in midair and your mech is just hanging there and slowly falling to the ground because you can't do anything.
Right.
So, there is no fall damage either, so falling to the ground doesn't hurt. So you don't have to worry about that. It's mostly just the dodging. The scale for this game, absolutely fantastic. You are a mech, and these are buildings that have people in them, and you come up to maybe a quarter of the height of the toe of your AC unit.
Great.
So
I love it.
Yeah, and you just walking like down a road and you like kind of nick a car, you just instantly blow it up because you were so big and so massive. The last boss that I won't get into too much was so massive that it was in the middle of a dust storm. You could only see a little bit of it. And then you get to it and you see how big it is, and you have to take it on a section at a time.
I saw that boss in some of the trailers where you're only seeing a little bit of it dismantling it, and that looks incredibly cool. It
felt, again, like Zona Enders, but this one particular boss also felt like something from Nier. Like Automata.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because it's like this old decrepit piece of machinery that's trying to kill you, and it's massive. So,
oh man,
yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. Just checking things out, jumping around, blowing crap up, getting blown up several times. I fought another AC unit. I didn't realize it was an AC unit, and that rocked my world. Right. I should have known because it had crab legs, you know?
Oh, so, yep, there you go.
Yeah, and a sniper rifle. And the cool thing about it is, too, the designs for these look really cool because you've got the thing that I was just describing. It's got crab legs, so it's set to be a sniper. The gun, its sniper rifle, is bolted on its back, but it's facing directly backwards, so its upper torso needs to rotate around to shoot you so it can brace itself for the shot, and the shot's almost a one-hit kill against you. It ain't fun.
That's cool.
So I mean, there's so much to pull apart. I also like to, and this is my last thing, with the training. In the beginning, it just throws you into the level and it gives you the quick, hey, left stick moves you around. It's got 360 control, and then your right stick is your camera. Once you get past that, it starts to give you these tutorial maps or levels to do, and it's just showing you the basics of, hey, this is how you fly. This is how you can do aerial combat. And it does it all in one stage, and it shows you everything that you can do with your current mech. And when you beat the tutorial, it gives you a part, like an AC part.
Oh, okay.
So it's encouraging you to, you don't have to do those, but if you do, hey, you get some parts, and
you get some cool stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last two that I did had a completely different AC unit that it made up, because the first two were based off of the default that you get. The last two, it had the inverted legs, and it was a light type, and it had a bunch of different weapons that I don't even have access to yet. And it was just saying, hey, this is something that you could potentially build in the future.
Sure.
There are different, you can do light, medium, heavy kind of stuff. It's just however you want to play the map. There is no wrong way to play this until you can't beat it, and then you might want to maybe change it up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, it's just been a great game to play so far, and I'm really loving it. And
sounds really good.
I kind of wish it didn't come out right now, because there's a lot of stuff about to come out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Armored Core 6. It's only $60 for all systems. So check it out.
Good.
If you're not sure, go watch a video. Because
you'll probably figure out pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'll find out real quick, because everyone who's posting videos about that are either new people who have never played an Armored Core game, or people who have been chomping at the bit for a new one for over a decade now, and are just loving it. So yeah, and it is not a Souls game.
Right.
So
most importantly.
It's basically a mech simulator, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is all I have been playing this week.
All right. There's a brand new season of Destiny 2 out, Season of the Witch, which sort of leading directly from the end of last season. You probably noticed I haven't talked about Destiny 2 in a while. Last season was rough, to put it kindly, along with...
I want to call this Season of the Which Way Is It Gonna Go?
Heyo, got him. That is a
pretty his dad joke book.
Pretty big question. But last season was pretty rough. I think pretty much everybody, not even just us in our clan, but a lot of Destiny players are all kind of burnt out at the same time. And the kind of storyline rollout from Lightfall, which is the last big expansion, has been lacking. Which is like a whole different topic I'm not even going to get into. So I haven't really played for quite a while. So I was really looking forward to playing this season, just because we're starting to get to the point where we're really planning for the final expansion in the Light and Dark saga, which is a big showcase this past week. It's not the end of Destiny 2, it's just we're finally wrapping up the story that started with Destiny 1. And this is the direct lead up to that. And it's kind of dealing with the fallout from both Lightfall and Witch Queen, the last two expansions. And so far, a lot of the stuff that's in here is actually pretty cool. It's a season largely featuring Eris Morn, which is kind of everybody's cool goth spooky aunt. Every time she's in a season, it's usually really great. This isn't a spoiler, it's the first mission, but basically she's kind of done waiting, and she's like, all right, well, if we're going to take the fight to the bad guys, I'm just going to turn myself to a hive god, and then you guys can kill stuff for me and make me stronger. So why don't you go do that? It's like, you know what, man, sure, let's go do it. What could go wrong? Surely. So that has led into the two new activities. One of them is Savathun's Spire, I think. It's a 3-person activity. It's actually pretty good. It's basically 3 combat encounters broken up by a little bit of platforming. It's not bad. So far, it's pretty good. Seems like that'll be the thing that kind of changes week over week, where you get different encounters and different puzzles and things like that. And then the other one is Altars of Summoning, which is, there was this there's this activity in Destiny 1 called Court of Oryx, which is basically this giant area. You can go towards a combat arena and basically deposit one of these 3 offerings, and depending on the offering you deposit, will give you a different difficulty encounter. So you give a tier 1 one, that's going to be pretty easy. Tier 2 is a little bit harder. Tier 3, at least at the moment, incredibly hard. And kind of that at that level of, am I going to beat it? Probably not, because it's kind of week 1. So far that stuff has been really good. Storyline wise, we'll see. I think this is a bit of a holdover season, because at the Destiny 2 showcase this past week, they announced a lot of beginner friendly stuff that were really or returning player stuff and new player stuff that is we're beginning to see here. They did the Guardian rank stuff a while ago, where you kind of have this guided set of missions where you can go through and get your mods and learn how to equip shaders and learn how to equip mods or titles and things like that. What they did this season is one of the biggest complaints that I think is the most fair about Destiny 2 is, if I'm a new player now or a returning player, I don't know any of these people in the game. And I don't know what the stakes are, and I don't know any of these characters. Even if I buy the expansions that are available, what the hell is going on? So they've put 3 missions into the game. If you look at the director, which is the menu that has all the planets on it, in the upper right-hand corner is a node that I don't remember. It's called Timeline, I think. And before, it was just a string of dots that was basically like, here was the Red War, and it gave you like a paragraph of, Gaul came and stole our light, and we got it back, and we killed him, yay. But now, they've taken that timeline, and they've put 3 playable missions into the timeline. There's like one for Forsaken, there's one for, I think, the Witch Queen, and there's one for something else. I don't remember which one. But it's kind of a condensed mission that recaps that expansion, along with a couple of cutscenes and like some voiceover and story stuff. So they have a really good introduction for new players and returning players of like, hey, here's why Cade is an important character, and here's what happened to him. Go play the Forsaken mission, and that will introduce you to all this stuff, and it'll get you like a couple of free exotics. So that stuff feels pretty great. Next season is going to be the in-game LFG is coming, which is going to be really great. It seems like it's what they showed is the stuff that I like that in-game LFGs are doing now, which is you get to tag yourself. So it's basically like, I'm a chill player, or I'm kind of like a hardcore PvP sweat, or I'm just looking to do stuff, or I want to do dungeons, and that works really well. I've seen it for me most recently in Fortnite, and I think that's really great because I can tag myself as, man, I'm chill. What do you want to do? It's cool. And you can kind of avoid the people that are like, no, we're going to win. It's like, I know myself. We don't always win.
You don't have your Galahorn equipped, you're getting booted.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't believe you're light level. Yeah. But importantly, too, they're largely doing away with power level in this game. So they've announced that basically when the final shape launch, there's no power level increase this season again. So that's kind of the 3rd season in a row. So if you've been playing, you're probably set already. If you haven't, there's not a ton to catch up on kind of power level wise. And they announced in the final shape, which is the next expansion, that they're essentially doing something called Fire Team level, which is like Moon hasn't played for a while and I'm playing currently. If I invited him to my Fire Team, it would just boost his power level to where mine is. And we could just go do whatever. And which is
That's
great.
not bad.
Thank you. Like, I think there are still some things in the game that are going to be power level restricted. So, like, if you're going to do the day 1 raid race, that's going to be power level restricted. You're going to do like master content for strikes or raids or stuff. That's still going to be power level restricted. Like you have to have your loadout and you have to have your power level and stuff. But if you're just running somebody through an older raid and they haven't played for a year, you shouldn't have to say like, all right, here's the spreadsheet of all the homework you have to do. It's going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to play this. Thanks though. So I'm really happy that they're working on a ton of improvements with that, because if you want people to play this game, especially people that haven't been in or people that are trying to figure out how to play this game in the first place, it is understandably really frustrating for me as someone who's like 18, 15 to say like, oh, you're 1600? Ugh, oh boy, all right, I don't know, man. So thankfully they're resolving some of that stuff. So Destiny seems like it's going in the right direction again here. But we'll see where this season goes. But it seems like it's off on the right foot, which is good. But we'll see in 7 or 8 weeks whenever the storyline is over,
we'll
like
next
usual.
Week.
Yeah. And thankfully they did announce they're doing away with seasons after the final shape, and they're working on episodes, which is essentially larger kind of mini expansions that last for longer. So it's not every 3 months you get a season. It's basically every 4 months you get this kind of big standalone thing. So we'll see how that plays. But
making quite a few changes then.
Yeah, they announced a whole ton of stuff in that, and a lot of it is inside baseball, but some of it is pretty big. I think as Destiny approaches its 10th anniversary, and the final shape is really the end of the Light and Dark saga, it's really important to try and get people into the game as like, all right, Destiny, it's not wrapping up, but I think the common impression will probably be Destiny's wrapping up. Let's finally check it out and see what's going on.
I was going to say, because this sounds like a lot of big end of game changes kind of stuff.
Right.
And I was just sitting here wondering if they've been slowly gearing up for like Destiny 3, or getting them off of the old consoles.
It's interesting because every time someone asks Bungie about Destiny 3, they're like, yeah, absolutely not. Never. It's like,
which I'm fine with.
Yeah, but I agree with you.
I felt 2 came out way too soon compared to 1.
Yeah, they were pretty honest if you read between the lines of basically saying like, yeah, Activision made us do that. We didn't want to do it. We don't think we should have had to do it. And I think there's an element of like, no one's telling me what to do. No one's telling me to make Destiny 3, so we're not gonna. Which I appreciate, but if you're not going to do that, you have to focus on someone coming in and being like, let's check out what this Destiny thing is. Yeah. Who are all these people? What am I doing? What's happening here? So hopefully they're in a better spot for all that stuff. And it seems like they're getting there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Next game, I've also had the same kind of week of like, I'm going to ask my brain what it thinks, and it's going to go, buh. So I played a lot of Vampire Survivors. And doing a lot of trying to save up for the characters that I've unlocked, because you have to unlock the characters and then you have to go purchase them. And there's a bunch of them that are like, yeah, this one's 350,000 gold. It's like, cool, I have 15,000. Okay, let's start doing some runs. So I'm doing runs where I'm like playing as characters I never play as, where it's like, oh yeah, that lady that starts with that terrible cat weapon. Yeah, let's check her out again. Let's try and play with that. Yeah, that weapon still sucks. All right, moving on.
The fact that it randomly also attacks you is
it's the worst.
Hilarious.
Yeah, God. So like nothing more really to say about this other than I still really like Vampire Survivors, and it's the exact speed that I need right now. And Vampire Survivors is just great. I like, now that I've unlocked everything in the game, I can now just look at the checklist for each character And you kind of have that Binding of Isaac moment of like, oh yeah, I haven't run this character and this place and cleared a run on this map. Okay, I'll go do that. That sounds like fun. Or like, I haven't played this map in forever. Let me go do that. Let's see what that does. So, Vampire Survivors is great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's got a good mix of hand-holdy things for you to do and other things where it's like, make sure the kitten doesn't fall in the mirror.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what? And one of my favorites is like, figure out the consequences of stealing cheese in the dairy plant. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
What? I'm all right. Let's hop in there. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. Let's figure it out. Yeah, Vampire Survivors. Good on them. Okay, next one here. Let me take this out of its stupid case here. But excitingly, my Analogue Pocket finally came in after 2 years of waiting.
Nice.
I finally have it right here. I am happy to say that the screen is actually way better than what I was expecting it to be. So if anyone hasn't heard about the Analogue Pocket, this is a handheld console that plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and maybe Game Gear cartridges without an adapter. I think Game Gear might need an adapter. But essentially, like I have right here, shocker, I have Final Fantasy V in this thing.
Yeah.
And then it will just hit the A button here. It just plays the game. You just put a cartridge in there and it plays it. The other feature of it is this has an FPGA chip in it. If anyone hasn't heard about that, that's the Field Programmable Gate Array chip. What that means is it's a chip that people can program after the fact. This is what powers the Mister as well. So that's, if you've seen those like emulator boxes, the strong part about the FPGA chips is that you can program them to exactly mimic the chips of other consoles. So if you want to make, say, an NES emulator, the emulator, if it's programmed correctly, will perfectly mimic the chip inside of the NES or Super NES or Genesis or 2600 or whatever you want. So you kind of have this dual strength console here where you have, if you're like me, you have all of these cartridges from the last X number of years. I'm trying to turn 42 this week, so my 42 years on this earth. You have all these cartridges, in most of our cases, loose, just in a shoebox. You can plug those in and just play those. They will probably need new batteries, but you know how that goes by that point. But also as an SD card slot. So if you want to play stuff like Super NES stuff or Genesis or NES or stuff like that, you have this really cool portable thing that has this incredibly cool looking screen that you can put all that stuff on, and you can play stuff across all of these different consoles and have these really cool experiences. They also have a dock you can buy so you can hook it up to a TV. I didn't buy that because I think that's like $100, and to me that defeats the purpose of what this thing is. This is essentially a long Game Boy Advance. That's kind of what I want it for.
Well, remember, you could plug your Game Boy Advance into your GameCube and play stuff on your TV screen.
Yeah, you could play your Zelda Four Swords Adventures and play that, which this does actually.
Or say the Final Fantasy, I forget which one that was.
Oh, Crystal Chronicles. Yeah.
Yes.
You probably can't see. Oh, maybe you can. It has a link cable port on the bottom.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to hook your Pokemans to everybody else's Pokemans, you've got that.
Pretty sure I still have that link cable in a box somewhere.
I think I do too, and it works. So you don't even have to buy like the Analogue Pocket link cable, which they do sell, thankfully. But I haven't had a ton of time with it because it arrived pretty late this past week, and a lot of it was kind of like getting the SD card set up, getting it configured. I think it has a really cool feature when you put a cartridge in as a bunch of screen modes. So there are 3 screen modes for Game Boy Advance, for example. So you can have no screen mode, so it has the very bright, vivid IPS screen that the Pocket has, and you can pick the default. Remember the big fat Game Boy Advance that had no backlight? Yeah. Pick that screen, so it's like the super saturated screen.
I was gonna joke if you could turn on and off the backlight.
I wish to have like the true like under the lamp experience where you're leaning and like trying to get the window light. And then it has the SG-101 screen, and then it has the warmer light SG-101 screen. So you kind of have like the 3 different types of Game Boy Advances. And then they do that with Game Boy. If I remember correctly, you can do like the green or the Game Boy Pocket one, where it was that kind of grayscale one. And then Game Boy Color, Super Game Boy, you kind of have all those different filters. At time of recording, unfortunately, those don't apply to ROMs, which Analogue says is going to come at some point. I think that will be really cool, that we could just kind of play even like Super NES and Genesis stuff with maybe some kind of like the dot matrix or scanline stuff. I think that'll be really interesting. But so far it's really cool. Only had to wait like 2.5 years for mine. Yay. But it arrived, and it looks, it's one of those things when you buy a nice piece of technology like this that someone says like, oh, the screen is incredible. Oh, this thing is. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to get it. And it's going to be like this dim kind of crummy thing that I'm not even want to really use. But it's one of those things that actually turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be, which is kind of how you want that to go. Nice. So, and I have the little hard
the
case,
buttons feel good and all that.
Buttons feel great. Shoulder buttons feel a little bit squiffy, but I they're in kind of a weird spot because
I noticed
Pocket,
that when the video was flipping it around.
Yeah, like the Pocket is very clearly trying to look like a regular original Game Boy, but with kind of the Game Boy Advance buttons on it. So the I can't get this out of this case now. So like the shoulder buttons are in kind of a weirder spot. It's not really bad. It's just kind of a little odd to use them, but I think that's more of kind of getting used to where they sit on the console at the beginning. But I know some people have reported having issues with their D-pad, but so far it doesn't seem to have any issues with that for me. So, but I'm not going to like play fighting games or anything on here, so yeah. I'm not sure how much that'll apply. But so far, everything seems pretty cool. I'm waiting to hopefully dive into it this week and try and play some stuff and put it through its paces and see how it goes. But it's nice to have this thing, plug a cartridge into it, turn it on, and just have it there and have it running. So it's pretty good. Last game here, I've been playing with my wife, Moving Out 2, which is currently available on PlayStation Plus.
Game Pass.
And Game Pass 2. Thank you. I meant to look that up. We were going to start with Moving Out 1, which is also on PS Plus, but that doesn't have online multiplayer. And we have consistently had troubles signing into both of our PlayStation accounts on one PlayStation and have everything work out okay. It's probably just something we're doing, so we try to avoid it.
I get that with Xbox every once in a while too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sometimes it depends on who because I know EA famously, any EA game does not work very well or at all. So.
Yeah, they're like 2 accounts. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So we try to avoid it as much as possible, which is great that this is on PS Plus because both of us can just download it on our consoles. I think it's like 2 gigs. Like it's pretty small. And we were able to just get into the game really, really quickly. And it is and it isn't what the game looks like. Like, it is this wacky physics thing that it appears to be on the surface, where you're just, everything is made of noodles and you're just trying to drag all this stuff out of this house, and every time you even look at a window pane, it just shatters into a million pieces and you're just destroying all these people's stuff. And that stuff is really great. Nothing but us laughing the whole time while we're like trying to pivot a sofa through this house, and none of the angles are right. And the game, since we didn't play the first one, the game kept making references to, oh yeah, like the last game, certainly nothing supernatural or weird will happen in this one. I guarantee it. And it was like, okay, sure. I can see this coming a mile away. And you finish your first day and you do something kind of in the story. And what made me really happy is I was going to be happy with Moving Out 2 as with the game that it was at the beginning, which is you have this town, there's a ton of houses, you're just going to go from house to house and you're going to move everything out. There was one level where you're moving stuff into a house. That was genuinely really rough. A little bit frustrating. I wish the time limit wasn't so strict, because we actually failed that level once before we went back in and did it successfully. But once you finish that first day, you actually... There's a story thing that happens, and basically 3 portals to other worlds open up, and then in each one of those portals is a whole bunch of other levels that are themed on a bunch of different stuff. So we first went into basically the like future of packing level, and it's floating buildings and islands and stuff that's moving, and a bunch of robotics and stuff. And I think I would have been really happy with the base game by itself, but having these weird levels that are kind of like, one level we did was the moving truck is here, there's a giant chasm across it, and then you're moving into a building across that chasm, and then there's just floating platforms that are going, it says as a sushi conveyor belt. So like a sushi conveyor belt platform is coming across like in the clouds, but never really stopping. So you're kind of hustling, 2 people are like hustling stuff across this thing to get across in time before you fall off. It's really cool, and I suggested it because my wife and I were looking for something co-op to play, because we've talked about it before. We don't play stuff where we compete with each other, because that like just never turns out well. Because I think both of us are like too secret competitive, and then it just turns out poorly. So co-op games like this are really good for us. And I thought, when we talked about this on the show and I watched the trailer for Moving Out 2, I was like, this looks exactly like the level of dumb that I think we would enjoy, and it is exactly that to a T, and we were enjoying it, and I think we're enjoying it even more now that we have the extra levels and this extra stuff that unlocked. So Moving Out 2 is cool. These are the types of games that I'm really happy are on Game Pass and PS Plus and all that stuff, because I want these games that are like a gig or two that we can just download in a couple of minutes. We can give it a shot for free and just try it. And we do game sharing on our PS4s. So like, even if I have to buy it and game share it, that's okay too. But quote unquote free is still better at the end of the day. But yeah, Moving Out 2, pretty cool. I like it. I'm hoping we'll be able to find some more time to play more of it. I'd like to see kind of how it continues to grow and continues to be crazy. We did this level where you're shoving a bunch of barn animals into respective pens. That was just absolute chaos in kind of the best and worst way. So Moving Out 2 seems cool. I like it so far.
You did mention too, with the timer, is that something you were constantly having to worry about, or do you have quite a bit of lead time and that one level just happened to
You have quite a bit of lead time. Like there are, if you look in the upper left hand corner of the screen, there's the like number of packages, and then next to it is a ticking up timer. There's a line in the middle that's basically the pro time. So if you meet that, you get an extra star. You unlock stuff with stars, kind of like normal stuff.
Okay.
But if that meter fills all the way up, and so far it seemed like it's about 10 minutes is the end of that meter, you fail the level.
Okay.
So far nothing has been more than 10 minutes. So when we've even failed, it's like, all right, we were kind of like horsing around too much. We weren't helping each other enough with bigger items. Because like you can drag like a fridge by yourself. You can drag a giant couch by yourself. It's going to take forever.
It takes forever.
Yeah, you can do it, but two people are going to make it way easier. And two people can throw heavy stuff if you hold square. Like both of you hold square and both of you let it go at the same time. You can throw stuff that's heavy, but you can't do that solo.
Okay.
So whenever we have failed, it's been a lot of like, oh, either we didn't figure out the puzzle in the level that would have made us finish it in no time flat, or we just weren't helping each other when we really should have. And they also, thing I forgot to mention, they also have a really great thing where you just push triangle when you're playing, and it just shows you everything you need to move. Because they have like a slight shimmer to them, but it's great to just hit triangle. If there's one little person icon, that means one person can move it. If it has two people need to move it, and there's like a different icon for, hey, this thing is tall and heavy, get two people to move that too.
Gotcha.
So it's great. It controls really well. The writing is actually genuinely pretty funny. Not always like laugh out loud funny, but a lot of like, all right, that was pretty good.
It's pretty well witted.
Yes, that's the best way of putting it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Moving out too. 2 thumbs up. Anyway, that's what I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Oh, man. Take a sip here. I should probably open up all these trailers here while we're waiting. 2 shakes.
So there's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally didn't do anything to do with Gamescom. Like, I just ignored the whole thing.
Yep, me neither. I
didn't know that was a thing.
I saw it happen, and I looked at it today and saw, you know what? Nope, I'm okay. I don't need to. We probably don't need to talk about that too much on this show, which is fine. We can't talk about every conference because we don't have a bajillion years.
Well, I was gonna say we could if it was our full-time job. And...
That's right. We'll just run GameIndustry.biz already.
Yeah. There's already enough people way better than we are struggling to make this kind of thing work.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Because I struggle with the analog pocket.
Sure.
Here. Hopefully not drop it. Oh, yeah, put the case on wrong. Oh, well. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of August 28th, 2023. Starting off with Goodbye Volcano High, coming out PS4, PS5, and PC. They describe it as a hybrid cinematic narrative / rhythm / coming of age / interactive movie experience.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it's the like high school dinosaur game, and then they realize that the meteor is coming at the end of the school year. And this game has always...
Hold on.
It was going to be angsty to begin with.
Are they doing a dinosaurs ending? Like the dinosaurs
pretty much.
TV show ending? One of the darkest endings in history ever?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I've been watching this for a really long time because this is a very much a me game of like make decisions of people that are sad, and there's a bunch of cool sad music playing. So I have been pretty pumped for a while, and it's been delayed quite a few times, and I'm really happy that it's finally coming out. So Goodbye Volcano High. That's for
It's
me.
got that feeling of sadness and angst, and then the developer finally saying at the end, "Oh, we're gonna give you something to be sad about."
That's
with
right.
This meteorite.
We know the meteor is coming. Don't worry. Yeah,
So
that's good.
I did see in the trailer,
Uh-huh.
they did the quote unquote in-game social media comments. It looks like.
Yep.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
Now that the Hellscape site has changed its name to X,
Uh-huh.
do you think that the video games just now put in like Y as the social media thing?
Oh, are you on the? Did you download the Z app? God, hopefully not.
It could have been Discord. You don't know.
That's true.
We've seen like Blitter and stuff like that before,
Right.
but I've never seen anything. I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with X.
How they try to outdumb X.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Goodbye Volcano High coming out this week. Next up is Samba de Amigo Party Central for the Switch. That appears to have a demo out. It's Samba de Amigo, man, just with the
How did
Joy-Cons.
nobody make this connection earlier?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was one that came out on the Wii, if I remember correctly, but there was something about it that wasn't very good. I think because you didn't have two Wiimotes by default. So, I don't know. It's Samba de Amigo. You kind of know what you're getting into here, so I don't know. Yeah, it's so good. Anyways, up next, game I've been looking forward to for about 10 years. Sea of Stars comes out. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is PS Plus and Game Pass day and date. This is this incredibly cool-looking 16-bit RPG love letter with music by Yasunori Masuda, which has been doing JRPG music for like everything, including Chrono Trigger. And this looks so good. Like I haven't really been diving into a lot of stuff recently, largely because I would like to really dive into this when it comes out. I didn't finish Chained Echoes, which I kind of regret, but looks like Sea of Stars will fit that bill kind of nicely here. You probably have PS Plus or Game Pass, and it's on both of those. So if you like this sort of thing, you should check it out. Seems super cool.
And Limited Run Games is doing a physical release next year for this game. Because it's digital only right now.
I wish I didn't know that. They make great packages.
That's why I haven't looked, because of course you can just buy the game, but there's the limited edition.
That's right. Oh man,
Boston, you will be supporting the makers of Saturday Morning RPG if you buy it. I'm just saying.
I buy a lot of limited run games stuff when I can afford it, because I think I like supporting even just their kind of regular here's a game in a box thing. Like I bought Curse of the Return of the Obra Dinn, because I was like, I would love to have this on disc.
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah, like I was just, but I only bought just the regular like game in a case one. I didn't buy the like $200 one.
Oh, you didn't buy the one that came
with
the ship?
Came with a little watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wish, but no.
The one that comes with a title to your own.
Right. Here, you got your own Obra Dinn. Yeah. Next game here, Under the Waves, comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Consoles, and PC. It says, experience a surreal adventure in the depths of the North Sea and the human psyche. So this is it says it's a narrative-driven adventure game about the engulfing power of grief. So one of them.
Great. More underwater stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah, one of those.
I don't want to be
It's
haunted.
dark. You can't see around.
You're sad.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You have to leave the ship.
That's right. God, yeah. So I don't know. Looks pretty interesting, but I'm not sure I'm in the mood. I'm more in the mood for Goodbye Volcano High and less in the mood for this. So we'll see. Next up is Somerville, coming to PS4 and PS5. This is that game that came on Xbox 2 years ago, maybe. the kind of like
knows?
side-scrolling, almost like Limbo Inside style game about the alien invasion one that people seem to feel okay about. That's coming to PlayStation platforms now. So, meant to play that at some point. It's probably still on Game Pass. I just never checked it out. So maybe someday. And last time one, Trine 5, Clockwork Conspiracy. I saw your note. We'll get there in a second. Trine 5 comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is Trine. I didn't realize they made a 4. And they're coming out with a
same. I
fifth
literally
one.
thought Trine 3 was the last one.
Right.
Yeah.
These have always seemed really cool, and I've always wanted to play these, but I feel like you should probably play these co-op. Yeah, because you can
exactly
play them.
Why I haven't played them.
Yeah, because you can play them single player, and you can switch between the 3 different characters. But I feel like that's probably not as fun as playing it really co-op. So I don't know.
It's so fun when you only have yourself to yell at for missing a jump.
That's right.
True.
Why not yell at your loved ones?
You know what? What's the fun in destroying a box that someone's standing on so they fall into a pit if you're destroying it for yourself? I mean,
That's right. Yeah. So that comes out this week. Moon left a note here that says Starfield ? Is that coming out this week?
September 1st, dude.
If you bought like the high-end deluxe version, you have early access this Thursday or Friday, whichever one.
And does it come out for real the next
week? Yeah, Game Pass and
Gotcha.
Standard Edition
Everything
September
else is
6th.
September the 1st.
Okay, so that's why it didn't show up on the release lists, because most release lists don't consider the early access. They only show the street date. So yeah, if you bought whatever bonkers edition, I'll call it the same thing I call the Diablo 4 one that I bought, the Suckers edition. If you bought that, then you'll get the early access to Starfield. Or if you've just been looking at the internet, the whole thing has leaked out there anyway. So you could just look at Twitter and just see the whole thing. So, that'll come out, and then we'll talk about that again next week. But are either of you guys gonna check that out?
I'll play the Game Pass version.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Number one, I am a Bethesda game lover. I loved all the Fallout franchise. I love the Skyrim series. The Elder Scrolls series.
I'm waiting for someone to be like, well, actually, you know what he means.
Well, someone tried to out-nerd me at work this week. And I was like, someone mentioned video games. Like, yeah, Starfield comes out in a couple of weeks. I'll be playing that. He's like, what's Starfield? It's like, by the same people who made Fallout and Skyrim. And he's like, Skyrim sucked. I much prefer the early one than that, Oblivion. Do you know what Oblivion is? And I was like,
excuse me?
Mother effer. You want to talk about that? Right. Oblivion was good. I prefer Morrowind. I did think the Daggerfall was a little questionable, though.
Right. Arena was a little rough on release. Yeah.
But yeah, I am planning on playing it too. Also on Game Pass, I am not buying it. Because I don't care that they say that this is going to be the least buggy game that they've ever produced.
It won't be.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I am looking forward to it. Yeah, eventually the games become gold.
Yeah.
But
maybe in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to play Day One because I want to see what they've done to the creation engine. Because if this is not like Creation 3.5 or like a complete
Creation 10
version of that engine,
right,
that is a problem.
I will probably check this out on PC, but again, this being 30 frames on console is unacceptable, and it not having graphical options is unacceptable. So I'm not going to be playing it on. The fact that you're putting something out on Series X with 30 frames sucks, and that should not be a thing that happens.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know how far I'll get with it.
Yeah.
Because I may get 2 hours into it, and my save corrupts, and then I'm done. Or
I fell through the world and I'm falling forever. Hooray!
Yeah, it's like I'm still playing enough, Armor Core and Ryza to get me through wanting to play an RPG. But it looks good, and I hope it does come out good, and I hope it isn't as broken as we're all expecting it to be. However, they have a track record. So
well, and with it being out in kind of early, not early access, but whatever we call that, and I'm assuming reviews will come out this week. Reviews are probably going to be fairly glowing, as they are with most Bethesda stuff, unless it's totally broken.
Yeah.
But thankfully, people will have hands-on. I'm sure there'll be 1,000,001 people streaming it on Twitch, which is great. So you'll be able to see exactly what this game looks like, kind of at a regular level.
There's already people on TikTok throwing fits about certain things, and I'm like, that's really a non-issue.
People lost their mind over what the start screen looks like. They're unhinged.
Come
is
on.
the dumbest thing. Stupid. Anywho, Starfield is halfway coming out this week. We'll talk about that again next week, surely.
Yep.
Let's talk
after.
And the week after that too. All right, let's move on to news stories. Sony finally unveils the final name / price for Project Q. If you remember, this is the mobile dual sense with a screen in the middle.
I'm laughing because someone posted a screenshot of what it does contain and what it doesn't contain, and I was like, Sony, how are you going to do this again?
Yeah, it's I'm gonna see if I can find a video here of IGN has hands-on on it. So it's called the PlayStation Portal. It is $200, which is a lot of money. It is a PS5 remote playing controller with a screen in the middle. So if you have used remote play ever since the PSP, it's that thing. You probably use it on the Vita because Vita means life. The rough part, though, is that it doesn't use Bluetooth. It does have a headphone jack on it, which is great. We'll talk about why it doesn't use Bluetooth in a minute, but that kind of sucks just out of hand. No PSVR support, which I thought was fairly obvious, but that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone's losing their ass over the VR support.
It shouldn't.
How many of you have the VR2 to begin with, or the VR1? Shut up.
That's right. It can't play games locally, which is probably going to be the sticking point for John Q. Street Fighter fan, kind of like walking into a Target and saying, it's a $200 PlayStation. I'm going to scoop that. What do I need a PS5 for? That will likely be the big sticking point of, I need the thing too. Okay. And the most baffling part about it is you can't stream games using PS Plus cloud streaming.
Yeah.
Which seemed... all the other stuff, all right, sure. I can't play games locally, obviously. I can't do PSVR, sure. I can get that too. You can't use the cloud streaming stuff? Why? It's not a make or break for people, but it seems like one of those things when they announced it, I was just like, oh, okay.
No, dude, come on. This is 100% a make or break for people.
Well, I don't think it's... I think it's one of those things where it would have made a ton of sense to put it in, but I think between the price... I think the price is the thing. So,
it's a glorified Wii pad. A Wii pad. Right,
but also, I can sync a PS5 controller to my phone and just use remote play. And if a controller isn't $200, I'm sure the screen looks incredible. And I am probably the target market for this because Sony came out saying, essentially, who is this thing for? Has been a lot of their marketing, which is pretty much the first question. And they're saying, hey, if you only have one screen in your home, you got kids watching Bluey on the TV all day, and you just want to play something, this is really for you. You want to play something in bed, and you're not lugging your PS5, you don't want to play it on your phone, this is really for you. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Tablet is for.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure they couldn't sell this for $100 without taking a huge loss, But you sell this thing for $100, and a lot of people are like, yeah, sure. All right, yeah, I could spend $100 on this, and you could spend $100 on the backbone controller for your phone, and it's largely the same thing. It doesn't have the haptics, it doesn't have the rumble, and the haptics and the triggers and all that stuff. But that's not the thing that people are like, oh, I can't play remote play because my triggers don't rumble. Like that's not the thing.
To be fair, though, the screen is bigger than your phone. Like it's a tablet-sized screen.
It's very big, and I'm assuming it's going to be very nice.
At least in the video, I would say it looks super sharp. It could be an OLED or but yeah, this
at the same time
weird.
though, like at the same time, it's literally just a tablet with a controller on that you, at least in my case, I would have to use this at home. Because I don't have a phone or a network capability to hotspot fast enough to be able to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happens if, like me, the house I'm in has 3 floors? Are you going to tell me that it's going to go all the way through the Wi-Fi to like the 3rd floor if my stuff is in the basement where my stuff is? Like,
I can't even get my phone to remote play to my PS5 that's downstairs, like on the 1st floor from the 2nd floor. So like remote play for me, I know it works super well for some people. It has never worked as smoothly as I want it to. And the idea of gambling on a $200 device for a technology that doesn't work as smoothly as I want it to, that's not a gamble I'm willing to make.
From what I read earlier, they also didn't say what the expected battery life is on this thing.
So the two things they did not announce are a release date, which is fine, and the most important thing is battery life, because as much as I love the PS5 and I loved the PS4, battery life on those suck. And the PS5's battery life sucks. So like the idea of putting a giant LED screen in the middle of a controller that already has, like, it would be great if it's like an iPad. You know, when you see the iPads open up or any of these tablets, most of it is battery and that thing lasts forever. I'd love to see someone crack this open and the whole back of that screen is battery. But it's probably not. So, because if it was, they'd come out and say, oh, this thing lasts for 10 hours. Yeah, woo.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's a pretty thin unit outside of the actual controller space that you're hanging on to. Yeah. So I can't imagine there being, unless they do what you're saying, which would be great, I can't imagine they have a big battery in that thing. No. We're probably looking at like 8 hours maybe.
Oh, I mean,
if that.
I'm not. I'm thinking like 4
with 5.
Well, if you turn down the brightness and turn off, rumble support and all that stuff, you can squeeze out like 7 and 58 minutes.
Exactly.
8 hour battery life, little star with all features turned off.
It just has 4 asterisks after it. Yeah.
And we also, and I know it's the next point, which is, this is a good lead on point for it, but you know that the Bluetooth not being in this unit is only for one reason and one reason only. And I don't think it's a good reason. I hated the direct Wi-Fi on the Xbox controllers for the 1st gen stuff, for the Xbox One. Hated that stuff. I hate any proprietary connection crap that can just take itself and go away. By the way, thank you, EU, for making sure that iPhones need to have a USB-C port
thank God.
Going forwards.
Yeah.
Yep. So America will have that change thanks to the EU in that case. But the only reason Bluetooth is not in this thing is one reason and one reason only. Boston?
PlayStation Link, which is, so they announced new Pulse Elite and Pulse Explore headsets, which are their kind of over-the-ear headsets and the earbud headsets, respectively. I never remember which one is which. I don't really care. But the whole thing that they're saying is Bluetooth is a great technology that can really suck in some instances with the audio delay. Some devices and some technologies do better with it than others. But there's always that kind of inherent delay in it. So Sony is talking about their new lossless, delay-free audio technology, PlayStation Link. That these two...
Bluetooth 4.5?
I don't know what it is because
Yeah, I don't either.
I wish the Mark
it doesn't
Cerny
seem like
had
anybody does.
Yeah, I wish Mark Cerny put out a video where his dulcet tones was telling me for 2 hours about how PlayStation Link was cool. But it will use PlayStation Link for audio, and I'm not sure if it's going to use that for communication to the PS5, because PS5 I don't think supports Link. But I wouldn't be surprised if it would come to that, come to PS5 in a firmware update. But you would have to assume that this, after some firmware update, will connect to the PS5 with PlayStation Link, which is fine, but like, and I wonder how much of that is Sony doesn't want. So Sony's trying to prevent people from cracking in this thing open as soon as possible, but it's going to happen within a couple of days anyway. Someone's going to be like, oh, it's running Android version, whatever. Whoops, I got root access to it.
Yeah, exactly. Someone will have root access to it the day it comes out, and we'll already be able to play Dreamcast games on it.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, which maybe I'll play it, maybe I'll pick it up then. Sure.
I mean, this is the thing that companies need to understand, and it's something that GOG got over a long time ago. It's, you have a corporation filled with, I don't know, let's say Sony, maybe 100 to 200 of the best cybersecurity people you can get to hard lock your stuff down so nobody can crack it. Mm-hmm. That's 200 people working a job on a salary doing this kind of stuff. The second you release it, you give that to the entire population of the planet who do this stuff for fun. It is their passion to break this stuff.
They have nothing but time.
And they will break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they should just give up on the security stuff, but it's also not an excuse for, hey, we don't have Bluetooth because it could make it easier to hack. Yeah, I bet you your proprietary thing is also going to make it easier to hack in more ways than you can imagine right now.
This whole thing is
what
just...
you did with the PlayStation 4 and fill everything full, or PlayStation 3 and fill everything full of cell processors. Problem solved.
Yeah, no one wants to touch it, so don't worry about it. Yeah. This whole thing is a real bummer because it's just Sony pulling another Sony, where it seems like it's a cool device that has a lot of promise, and it's just priced wrong. They're still leaning into this like boutique console thing. The battery life is gonna be garbage. I can almost guarantee, and it just doesn't seem to really have a super big market at the moment. But I'm sure it'll be cool. I'm sure it'll be super easy to set up, like remote play stuff is. I'm sure it'll work really well. It's $200, man.
Well,
can we talk about the biggest mistake?
Yeah.
The name. Because if you acronymize it, what does it come down to?
PSP, let's go, baby.
Yeah, stupid. It's another PSP.
Yeah, just pick up a used Vita, and you're probably better off. Does it work? Does Vita work with the PS5? I feel like it doesn't.
You know what? I'll try, and I'll get back to you next week.
Yeah, report back next week. Yeah, so
because it's been a while since I've turned mine on. So.
Yeah, ditto.
But I think too. A lot of the issues with our industry right now is I understand that this is entertainment, but I think the industry is becoming very willfully deaf on, hey, oh man, I just swore.
I'll write it down.
Things are expensive,
right?
Okay, and I know this is for entertainment, but like, know your market, man. How many units do you feasibly believe you're gonna sell for this?
Know the economy.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can't afford groceries, man. I'm not buying a PlayStation Portal.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like this seems, with what little they've released so far, between the three of us, it doesn't look like any of us are planning on getting it. Because it wouldn't necessarily fit our lifestyle.
Yeah, Moon doesn't have a PS. Like this would be one of those, like the Steam controller. Yeah, I'll buy that when you're closing up shop and I can get it for less than $50. Sure, I'll give it a shot, but like this wouldn't be my kind of daily driver thing. I have a really nice LG C10 TV that I would like to go sit in front of and play games at like 4K 120 hertz. I don't want to sit. What I'm doing in bed at the end of the day is reading a book. because I've been playing video games all day. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that.
But it just seems like everyone's starting to get out of touch with things like these, where it's like we're back to the you should get a second job to afford this thing that
Sony's
back direction real quick.
Sony's back on top, man. They're ready to just be like, you complained about the price, it's now $300. You complain about it again, it's $350. What are you going to do? So like,
it
so
just seems
PS
really
Vita
weird.
does work with remote play for the PlayStation 5.
Does it?
there you go.
And
Find yourself a Vita.
There you go.
the Vitas are going from anywhere between $100 to $230 to $240, depending on which one you're looking for.
So like
And
the
that
same
thing has a library.
the same price as a PlayStation Portal, and you can play games on it locally. Great. Sounds like a deal.
The Vita's released
And
at
they're
what,
hackable as
250?
hell. Something
I think it was 250, 250, 300, something like that.
Like the only
think they
reason
were
they're this
300,
expensive
but-
still, the only reason they're this expensive still is because they've discontinued making them. That's the only reason why.
No,
That's true.
it's this expensive because one, they discontinued it, and two, it's really good hardware.
It's cool
And
as hell,
three-
man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
three,
It's hackable as hell.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do all kinds of cool, fun stuff with a Vita.
Yeah, you
when
want a
you
cool emulator machine? Get a PSP.
And if you don't, it's got a pretty decent library.
Both the
So-
PSP and the Vita have a very good library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's move on to our next news story, a positive one this time. We haven't talked about Eternights for a little while. They got a new release date, and it was moved up. It's coming out on September 21st. Now it's coming out on September 12th. We never really get to celebrate a game coming out earlier. Usually it's like, oh, got a delay. It's coming out 2 years later from now. So sorry.
Yep.
And this is that kind of like horror hack and slash RPG dating sim game that we saw 2 years ago, I think, at like a TGS or
the
something.
Game Awards or something, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And I've been keeping my eye on it because it looks real out there in a way that I appreciate. Yeah.
It looks like a mix between like Tokyo Xanadu and Persona.
Yeah.
Whereas-
Yep. Very much so. Yeah. So Eternights is coming out a little earlier. I appreciate that.
Right after Starfield.
That's right. Right after Starfield. So
Everyone's trying to get out of the way of Starfield, and these guys were like, "Nope, day and date."
we know how good we are. Pick up Eternights.
Come on, if you're an RPG fan, you know which side your bread is buttered on.
That's true.
Or a Japanese game fan in general. If
That's
you're
right.
a Western game fan, Starfield. If you're an Eastern game fan, this one.
If you're both, you're looking at your wallet saying, "I can't."
Listen. You're the only person on the planet who's like that, so you're fine. We're fine. You deal with it.
The only reason I own an Xbox is to play Western RPGs on it.
Right.
So
Also, importantly, Eternights on PS4 and PS5, $30. That's a great price. That's a price you can get behind.
that's
Sony.
That's the thing. It's cheap. It looks good.
Yep. Looks cool as hell. All right, more exciting news here coming up next. Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox Series S and X in 2023. So the big thing is it comes out on PS5 in like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And Larian Studios has continually said, like, we're trying to get parity between the Series S and the Series X versions, and we're having trouble with that.
Specifically with local co-op, wasn't it?
Yes.
Local co-op on Series S was always kind of the sticking point where I really appreciated the studio coming out and saying, like, it's going well.
This is the issue.
It's running well, like everything's good. We just want to have feature parity, and we feel like local co-op is important on these console versions.
They don't just want to have feature parity. According to every single rule set by Microsoft, and this is me slagging off Microsoft now, they have to have feature parity.
Which I appreciate. Like that should be definitely your goal for both of these consoles, but the Series S is less powerful than the X is, so I can understand there being difficulties in getting that to happen, which is what Larian Studios was running into. The Swen Vicky who's the founder and CEO of Larian Studios, tweeted out this week saying that they had a meeting with Phil Spencer to talk about, hey, what can we do? We want to get it into people's hands, and we're having trouble. How can we make this happen? And apparently, Mr. Spencer worked out a deal with them to kind of come up with a compromise where both versions will have everything, except the Series S version won't have local co-op. Sounds like they're going to continue to try and get it to work, but it's not going to be something that's going to stop it from releasing on Xbox platforms this year.
Yeah, it sounded like they were going to try to get like Microsoft engineer or Xbox engineers to kind of help out a little bit. So
I'm trying to help out. Yeah.
So
again, having just insulted Xbox, now I will sing their praises in this instance.
Compliment sandwich. Let's
go.
Yes, let's go. When companies called out Sony about cross-platform play, Sony takes that message and doubles down on it.
That's
right.
Like,
no.
That's right.
No.
I'm throwing it in the toilet, and I'm going to the bathroom in that toilet. So deal with it.
And arguably, Larian are coming from a position of vast strength when they say this. But one of the companies that called out Sony about crossplay was Epic, because they wanted it for Fortnite, and that's the position of power that not many people have. Right. Sony still doubled down. Larian come out with arguably a Game of the Year contender. From everything I'm hearing about it, it's a Game of the Year contender.
The best reviewed game in the last 10 years, probably, since Skyrim, maybe.
And they call out Microsoft on this particular line. I wouldn't even say it's BS. I think it's a smart business decision to want the parity. They call them out. Guarantee Phil probably made that meeting happen. I was like, okay, you have an issue with this. Let me come to you. Let me sit down with you. Figure out if we can hammer this thing out. It's like, okay, we'll waive this so that you can get this thing that everybody wants to play on my platform.
Right. And I'm sure from Spencer's standpoint, if you see whenever like Starfield would get delayed, he'd put out a tweet where he's very much like, I swear, if you guys do this one more time, I'm going to burn your so like he seems to be understandably upset about that stuff. And I could imagine for the biggest video game of the year launching on PS5 here in like 2 weeks or so, and Xbox in question mark. I'm sure that makes him real pissed. And I'm glad that he made an exception.
Very clear. Well, yeah, especially since they made it very clear that this isn't because we can't do it. This is because of a stipulation with Xbox.
Right. Yeah, we'd be more than happy to just ship it.
Not great. Which, should be fine. Whatever. Yeah. Hopefully they get it, because this. Did any of you guys play Divinity: Original Sin 1 or 2?
Maybe the first one for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Those are fun games to play co-op.
Yes.
And two I need to get back and play, because 2 feels like a real D&D session where it's like you can just do whatever and screw off. And from everything I'm hearing with Baldur's Gate 3, this is another great get a bunch of your buddies and it's just like a full-on D&D session of let's keep pushing it and see what we can mess up. Yeah. And then you're committing war crimes.
Yeah, I'm glad this exception was made, and I feel like I'm curious to see how this is going to go long term, because I like the idea of the Series S. Like, you get a console that you can you should be mainly focused on Game Pass games, and it's much cheaper than, what are we laughing about?
How expensive is the Series S now? Because I'm pretty sure it just got a price drop, right?
Is it $250? $300?
Say it was $300.
PlayStation Portal pricing.
Literally, that's exactly what
I'm thinking. How many PlayStation Portals is it? But it's nice to have that entry level console, and it's we've talked about it ever since the PS5 and the Series consoles got announced, where Sony took a really interesting tack where the PS5 is $500, the one without a disc, the disc drive in it is $400, but it's the same console. And Microsoft went kind of the more not extreme path, but the Series X is kind of your fully featured, more powerful one, and then the Series S is the entry level one that's considerably cheaper.
Doesn't have a disk drive, and it's like half the power or something like that.
It has a lot less RAM, which appears to be the sticking point for most developers, it seems.
And it's not 4K, it's not HDR, it's only 10 whatever it is.
1440p,
4K
I think,
and HDR.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very good. Like, if I was going to get a second Xbox for this household, I would get the Series S.
Yeah, 100%. And
I've been thinking about getting one.
You throw
for the
Game Pass in the mix.
Yeah.
100%. Throw Game Pass in with that, and it's an unbeatable deal.
Yeah, and I appreciate Xbox saying, "Hey, we want to have this feature parity between these two consoles. Like, you should be able to just buy it, and it shouldn't be like, oh, well, you're playing the Series S, so it doesn't have X and Y and Z, and here's a spreadsheet and stuff like that." But you got to make exceptions here, especially if the team is like really trying to make it work. And I'm glad an exception was made here, because I want more people to play an RPG like this instead of waiting until like it's coming out in 2024 sometime, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Cool. I like it. 2 thumbs up. Last news story here. Sort of surprising, but maybe not. Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, is stepping down as the voice of Mario. And it's sort of interesting because I don't think I realized that he's kind of older, but I didn't think he was old enough to kind of maybe retire from doing the voice. But he's kind of going out, and Nintendo's saying like, oh yeah, we're going to he's going to be the Mario ambassador, and he's going to keep kind of touring around and being the kind of face of Mario, and you can meet Charles Martinet. But he's not really.
It's a legacy position. This is
really
like when you're a wrestler and you get like a Legends contract where you just get to. You go do publicity tours, you do meetings, you do signings, you do that kind of stuff, and I think it's a smart move for them.
And everybody loves Charles Martinet. Like, apparently, you see stories of like how you meet him. He does the voice for a little bit. He talks to you for a little while. He's like the nicest human being on the planet. That's probably a dude you want to keep. They'd be like, yeah, man, just do the Mario voice wherever. And surprisingly, they have announced to IGN that the Mario voice in Super Mario Brothers Wonder is not Charles Martinet. I don't think I've seen them say who it is. But I'm kind of surprised that they aren't...
This is AI.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that they aren't just using that dude's voice for the next 40 years, because, like, there aren't that many Mario lines, and I don't see
talk.
Yeah, I don't see Mario coming in Super Mario Brothers Wonder being like, so I bet you're wondering how I got here. And then there's like a 5-minute JRPG intro where Mario talks the whole time. You know, it's like Wahoo and It's a Me, and that's about it. So like,
you just pay him royalties until he dies.
Exactly. Like, and then you pay his estate royalties after that, because he's like the most iconic video game voice. So I'm kind of surprised that they're doing another voice actor. But I'm always happy to see more voice actors getting paid for their stuff and not just their likeness and their voice getting slurped up by AI. So I don't know. That's cool. It's nice to see him kind of just be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm done being Mario. Nintendo is thankfully giving him his due. And then I guess we'll see who voices him next.
Video with Elephant Mario. What the heck, man?
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers Wonder looks really great. I can't wait for whatever wildness that turns out to be. Okay, that's all of our news stories.
Here's what you don't know: the new Mario voice and Super Mario Wonder. The reason they haven't announced it is because it's actually Chris Pratt.
That's right. We're legally obligated to make that joke because the Super Mario Brothers.
Everyone else has. Yeah,
and that voice in that movie is odd.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I still haven't seen the movie yet.
I've seen probably about the first half an hour, and that's Chris Pratt. Man, he's doing a Chris Pratt voice. Charlie Day's great though, because Charlie Day is always great. Can't go wrong with him. All right, we have a question here from Feyre that I've been kind of like kicking this can down the road for seemingly about 4 episodes. So let's get to this. If your co-hosts...
It came in 2 months ago, so yes.
Yes. If your co-hosts were professional wrestlers, what would their walkout theme be? Do you agree with their choice for your theme?
Okay. I can do this probably real quick for Boston. The intro music to Final Fantasy VIII. The operatic
I'm not going to argue with that.
Man, that is a good song.
Even
the intro movie for that is really
good.
Angel.
No,
and
thankfully.
It's got that slow build to big pump-up section, so it's a really good like teasing section. And then when it hits, that's when you come out from the curtain.
When it hits.
Come down to the ring.
All right, I'll do that. Yeah.
What about Nymph? Is the question.
I just come out in silence.
That's right.
No fanfare.
Hey, that is a really good wrestling heel move. Is to not have music that people can't get behind.
Yeah,
one of the best heels in the business right now, Don Callis. He has music which is literally just a droning noise.
Oh, okay.
Rob, friend of the show, Rob refers to it as his Hypnotoad entrance music because it's that exact sound.
That's great.
I was going to say, it's like, just cut the speakers in the entire auditorium, and I just slowly walk my way down.
You just play the sound of cicada cries, and everyone's like, no, please stop! Ah! True villain.
Trying to think for Moon. What would Moon have?
I feel like you wanna come out to the, like, whatever, what's that famous track from Doom 2016?
Oh, the shotgun music?
Yeah.
I think it's literally... I think it's E1M1. I think it's the remake of E1M1.
It might be, yeah.
It has a name, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That is a killer piece of music. Dude.
See? I got it. I got you. Turn that thing up.
Why am I even looking it up? It's literally called Rip and Tear.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
I don't know if that's the one I was thinking of, but like you could probably pick any track from that soundtrack and be like, yeah, this song's
just
incredible.
The bass one from the 16-bit era. It's like,
yeah. Track 2 of the Doom soundtrack is Rip and Tear in the original, and in 2016 it is also track 2, I believe.
That's great.
Yeah, Rip and Tear. It's the except it's the remake version of it, which is E1M1, I believe.
It is, yeah. Man, that one's good.
Such a good piece of music.
Stamp of approval. Boop. Oh man, I can't think of anything else I would want though. So I feel like you want to have something that's really heavy, or you want to have something that's like big and operatic. Yes. I'll take mine for sure.
I can get down with Rip and Tear easy. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of a genuine one for Nymph.
I'm talking just silence, or just play Mad World. That's been enough video game trailers that it's practically a video game soundtrack.
No. If we're gonna play Mad World, we need Evanescence to do a cover of it, like they did for Gears 5. Who knew?
That's true. Who knew? Who knew that was for Gears 5? Not this guy. Oh, BFG Division is the track I was thinking of. That's the other like really big track.
I might have to look at that. But
yeah, it's as heavy as you'd expect. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Feyre, for sending in your question. Really appreciate it. Now that we're reaching the 2.5 hour length for this episode, let's wrap it on up by telling you can visit us over at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including a link to the Patreon page, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
You can get all the cool stuff we talked about at the beginning of the show, and the $5 a month is the recommended tier. Remember, that's per month, not per episode or per week or anything, so probably the best deal. Us and Game Pass, 2 of the best deals in video games. Bar none.
Definitely.
Yep. So you can get that over... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Ironically enough, I try and be a patron for a lot of as much stuff as independently produced stuff as I can to support them.
Mhm.
I realized that nobody's patron feed hits like ours, and I'm like, are we stupid? I think we might be stupid.
Yeah, probably. It is a good deal. It's just like Game Pass. I mean, this is probably too cheap, probably, but get in while the getting's
This
good.
economy, though.
That's right. In this economy, it's a pretty good deal.
We're just gonna pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and
That's right.
until we make it big and don't have to worry about money anymore.
Yep, very much so. If you can't support us financially, like we're talking about, totally understand. Groceries, etc. Elder millennials, that's us. The best way you can support us is by sharing on social media, wherever that might be right now for you, question mark.
Letter of the alphabet you're using
That's
for your
right.
social media.
Hopefully
Blue
nowhere.
sky.
Yeah,
I'm on
blue sky.
now.
Hopefully
You guys are
nowhere
on
to
the
save your
BS.
sanity. But if you can share it, that helps a ton. Tell your friends. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Rate it wherever you can. All of that stuff genuinely does help, and we really do appreciate it. And we appreciate you listening to this very episode, and we hope we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Just gonna dip out of frame. Bye. I'm just getting my
Peace
book.
out.
Oh man. Okay. Nimp. What are your titles?
I have. Oh, that's weird because it starts out that way. I have been playing Yes. IRL mowing. Hey man, I don't know. Do the smoosh smoosh smoosh. And brain goes by.
Moon, what do you have?
Oh, I got a lot here, if I'm completely honest. Jump Scare ASMR, Patreonception, Monster Hunter Claw, IVG, Redacted Energy, Season of the Which Way Will It Go, Spooky Gothant, Out Dumb X, Doing This Again, the Skyrim series, another PSP, Know the Economy, Xbox in question mark, I Think We Might Be Stupid, and when I remembered, I swore.
I have IRL and IVG, Redacted Energy, the Skyrim series. I've been playing Yes, Monster Hunter Claw, and another PSP. My vote is
I think it's
Redacted
Rich Energy.
Yeah,
Rich
Energy,
Energy
yes.
is what it was
Beep
called.
Energy. Yep.
I thought you were thinking of Rich, but then you guys went on with Redacted. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say it. But yes, I'm fine with Redacted Energy.
I think that is a wonderfully stupid title.
It is right up there
Yes,
with all the dumb stuff
also-
we do for pre-show.
Mhm.
It's also so full of TVGP lore that it's an unbelievable
right.
title.
All right, I'm going to circle it. Also, really like the Skyrim series. Any other week that would have won. I think Redacted Energy is just
Probably,
too
yeah.
strong.
Can you believe that we are at a point right now where a whole generation only knows Skyrim?
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I saw somebody talking about Armored Core, and they were a streamer, and they said they had lost faith in video games when a bunch of the kids coming into their like younger watchers said, "Oh wow, isn't that cool? You don't have to pay for or unlock the color schemes."
Yeah, I saw that it was the woman who made the Bloodborne PS1. She wrote that on Twitter, and I was just like, yeah, that's rough.
That
kids.
is terrifying.
I'm sorry.
I want to say, but that's the other thing too with like From Software. You don't have to worry about microtransactions. I don't even know, besides actual paid DLC.
But now,
well, for now, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be at that point right now where they're not interested in having it. It doesn't help with their games. It's not part of their vision. They're not doing it.
Good on them.
Because yeah, this could have been a game that they microtransaction the hell out of for like, hey, you want your Pepsi themed AC unit, or you know?
Yeah. Oh man.
I think I have something.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 827 for August 28th, 2023. Redacted Energy.
I will not give you the ammo to write a book about me.
Your insurance will not cover you drinking this.
I should re-record that intro and just say redacted. Great. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. Love having you all here in chat, especially. We'll be here next week. I hope you'll join us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.